Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Poland is divided. 3 separate ceremonies to commemorate the 43rd anniversary of the signing of the August agreements were held today in Gdansk. The 3 events were organised by the city of Gdansk with Mayor Dulkiewicz, by the independent self-governing trade union Solidarity and by the Gdansk branch of the Institute of National Remembrance.
On the 14th of August 1980, a strike broke out at the Lenin shipyard in Gdańsk to defend Anna Walentynowicz, an activist with the free trade unions of the coast who had been fired. Municipal strike committees were also formed in Elbląg and Szczecin. On the 26th of August 1980, strikes began in Lower Silesia, and 3 days later mines in Upper Silesia joined in. Plants from all over the country also joined the protests. August of 1980 is the eruption of that true solidarity and the will to be a free man in a free country. I would only move the date a little. Not the signing of the August agreements excites me so much, but more the beginning of the strike, that is the strike in defense of Anna Walentynowicz. Among the demands of the workers, in addition to social issues, were also political issues. The 21 demands of the Inter-Union Strike Committee were created by, among others, Lech Wałęsa, Andrzej Kołodziej, Bogdan Lis, Andrzej Gwiazda, and Anna Walentynowicz. Acceptance of free trade unions, independent of parties and employers, under Convention number 87 of the International Labour Organization on the Freedom of Association, ratified by the People's Republic of Poland. Guarantee the rights to strike and the safety of strikers and supporters. Restoration of previous rights, people fired from their jobs after the 1970 and 1976 strikes, students expelled from universities for their beliefs. Release of all political prisoners, including Edmund Zadrożyński, Jan Kozłowski, Marek Kozłowski. Abolition of repression for beliefs. The communist government yielded under the scale of the protests. Agreements were signed on the 30th of August 1980 in Szczecin, on the 31st of August in Gdańsk, on the 3rd of September in Jastrzębie-Zdrój, and on the 11th of September at the Katowice Steelworks. This was the political beginning of the end for Edward Gierek. By virtue of the events of August 1980, the so-called Carnival of Solidarity was created. At its peak, as many as 10 million Poles belonged to the independent self-governing trade union. Actually, the social movement insisted that free independent labor unions be established, and we accomplished that, didn't we? We live in a free country precisely because 43 years ago, the whole world of labor, white-collar workers and students, joined this movement to fight against that system. Many experts point out that solidarity would never have been established if it had not been for the election of Karol Wojtyła as Pope. During the Pope's first pilgrimage to Poland in 1979, Poles were finally able to make themselves count. The memories are pleasant, of course, although we have to keep in the back of our minds what followed, that the agreement was temporary and preordained to be broken. Celebrations marking the 43rd anniversary of the August agreements began yesterday in Szczecin with the participation of President Andrzej Duda.
Powinniśmy klękać przed tymi pomnikami.
We should kneel before these monuments. That's why throughout history, those very workers of that time from the year 1970, 1971, 1980, 1976 are heroes, also because they won that freedom without weapons in hand. The Carnival of Solidarity lasted until the 13th of December, 1981, when Wojciech Jaruzelski tried to crush Polish independence aspirations with tanks. The communists maintained full power in Poland until 1989.
Earlier today, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko said that demands by Poland and the Baltic states for the withdrawal of Russia's Wagner mercenary group from Belarus were groundless and stupid. Speaking during a Belarus Security Council session in Minsk, Lukashenko said that opposition to Wagner's presence in Belarus was unjustified as long as foreign troops are stationed in Poland and the Baltics, which are all members of NATO. The answer is simple. Neither in Poland and Lithuania, nor in other Baltic countries, should there be a single foreign fighter. If that were the case, they would be in a position to make claims over us regarding the presence here of service personnel from other countries. In the meantime, these are groundless and stupid demands, not just requests or proposals, but demands. The Wagner Group, whose leader Yevgeny Prigozhin was killed in a plane crash in Russia last week, relocated some of its fighters to Belarus under a deal brokered by Lukashenko to end a brief mutiny by the mercenary army against the Russian defense establishment in June. Poland and its neighbours see the Wagner Group's presence in Belarus as a security threat, and Warsaw in response has moved some of its own troops eastwards towards the Belarus border. Belarus said in late July that Wagner Group members had started training its special forces at a military range just a few miles from the border with Poland. Lukashenko has said his army will benefit from being trained by the Wagner Group, which fought for Russia in some of the most intense battles of what Moscow calls its special military operation in Ukraine, and completed the capture of the city of Bakhmut in May after months of fighting. Ukrainian children are preparing for a new school year. Forced to shield its school children from the threat of supersonic Russian missiles fired at short range, Ukraine's eastern metropolis of Kharkiv has built dozens of classrooms in metro stations to allow some children to return to in-person teaching. Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, had a population of more than 1.4 million before Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022. Parts of the city lie less than 20 miles from the Russian border. Its northern suburbs were scarred by fighting. Kharkiv schools have been forced to teach online throughout the war as some Russian missiles can reach the city in under a minute, which is not enough time to get from many classrooms to a shelter. Mayor Ihor Terekov said on Tuesday that 60 classrooms have been created in Kharkiv's metro stations ahead of the new school year in September, creating space for more than 1,000 children to study in person. We will have desks, an interactive board, Wi-Fi. Tutors and psychologists will be here. Also, a fire alarm was installed for the children's safety. In addition, the classrooms are soundproof and have ventilation. I support that the children will study in the subway. They lack socializing. The children will be able to socialize with each other, find a common language and communicate. The classes are twice a week, 3 hours every time. It is not every day. I absolutely support this. Children's safety first of all. My children will attend online classes, though our school offered a bus to transfer children to the subway, and primary school students will be able to attend school offline. While children in Kharkiv are going back to school and will have their classes in the underground classrooms of a metro station, most Ukrainian children are going back to more traditional schools as they prepare for the new school year. Do you want to go to school? Yes. What do you expect from school? I expect you will be very good there, and I expect to make a whole lot of friends, boys, but I will not be friends with girls, just with the boys. Here is Ukraine and this is Russia. This is Ukraine and this is Russia. Russia is very big, the biggest country on earth. I want us to win. Ukrainian mother, Clarissa Krychenko, is among those Ukrainians who believe it is crucial to return their children to an environment that feels familiar and where their service member fathers can still see them. We were coming back and I knew that the shelling was continuing, that the Shahed drones were flying. This is our routine for long years ahead. I'm not sure whether this war will end soon, and we need to act according to the realities. In accordance with this, I chose a school that fit my needs. Especially children of primary school age need this as fresh air. They need to communicate with other children, because during this period, active socialization takes place. They develop the skill and talk to their peers and find ways to solve problems. You can't do it online. Millions of Ukrainians, mostly mothers and children, fled the country after Moscow's February 2022 attack, but many have since returned, fearing their children are missing out on a Ukrainian education. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.